Okay, so we are live now. Looks like we're live. Yes, we're live now. So we are here. We're going to be discussing a few questions. We are on TDC São Paulo, the largest developer event here in Brazil. And a few weeks ago, I asked it on Twitter, what is the biggest challenge that you have giving talks at events, right? So I got some comments from a lot of different speakers. So we're trying to address these comments. And I just want to make a point here that although we are addressing points that top speakers made, we're not necessarily answer their particular problem or their question, right? Because those are top speakers in the industry. We're trying to use that as an inspiration to help you to be a great speaker too. So the challenge and frustration the top speakers have, if we can address that, maybe it's going to be help. Maybe you can be a better speaker. Maybe you can overcome your fear of speaking. And so that's what we're doing here. We are here at the TDC event on the mentorship room. On the mentorship room, we do career mentorship and speaking mentorship to help developers to become better at what they do. Right. So today I'm going to address a few things. Stuart's talked about, yesterday we talked about Stuart's point of being interrupted, and he went a little bit in more detail on a tweet this morning. So I'm going to talk a little bit about interruptions, and also we had, let me just kind of see here, we had CJ said that his biggest challenge is talking, right? So we're going to talk about a little bit about ways that you can share that maybe doesn't require you to talk, right? And also, there's another question from Ihor, right? No, not Ihor, sorry. Oops. Oh, man. I lost the name of the person. Okay. So I lost the name of the person here. Sorry about that. But someone else, I'm gonna on Twitter, I'm gonna post an answer to him on Twitter. That talk about being convincing, knowing enough about the topic to be convinced. So we're gonna talk about those three things here today, and we're still gonna have more content tomorrow and Saturday. So first of all, Stuart talked about one of the things that he didn't appreciate was being interrupted at the event. So I want to talk two things about this. One, yes, interruptions is part of being a speaker, right? That's something that we have to do all the time. We have people that make comments on our talks. We open up for questions, and there's people that instead of asking a question, they go on and on and on. They want to be like a mini speech during their question time. We also, a lot of times, we're going to be talking with people from the audience. Maybe in the corridors of the conference, for example, and you maybe going to be right in the middle of something you're talking about, and then someone's going to ask a question or interrupt or make a comment, anything like that. So yes, interruptions are part of what we do, and that is okay. Seriously, right? Speaking, it's always a conversation, right? And so in conversations, we do have interruptions also, right? So, I think the best way is to deal with that gracefully, and maybe you can say, okay, I'll address this in a minute. One thing that I do a lot is that, when people are talking with me and they raise their hand, for example, because most of my talks, I try to be open for questions at any time. So, a lot of times I'm talking something, someone raise their hands, and I will acknowledge, I'll say, yes, I saw you, I'll get back to you in a minute. Let me just kind of finish this. So I just kind of say, I do like something like this. So they know, I know that they want to ask a question, and so I can finish my points. And so some other times, if you're in a conversation, in a hall conversation, someone might say something, you can do the same thing, right? You can say, okay, let me just finish this. I'll get right back to you. And, if you do something like this, usually the person will accept, because all they need is to acknowledge that they're going to have a chance to talk. They're going to have a chance to ask a question. And if you do this, usually the person will accept and wait a little bit more until you're able to address their point, right? And so that's an easy way for you to deal with interruptions. If you have more regular kind of interruption, that could be a little bit different. But usually, if you just acknowledge the person, they'll be okay. In Stuart's case, he had a different situation, right? He was right before his talk, right? So he wanted a minute to relax. He wanted a minute to mentally prepare for his talk. And someone comes in and wants to talk, wants to comment on things. And this is a little bit more trickier because, you want to be quiet, right? You want to be, breathing and preparing for your talk and things like this. And then someone wants to talk with you. Someone wants to ask a question, wants to say something. And, that's not a problem that I go a lot with because I usually, when I get to the conference to give a talk or when it's time for my talk, I'm usually willing to do this, right? I like to do this. I like to talk with the audience right before the talk. I like to interact with people, ask people what they expect from the talk. A lot of times I talk to people even before they know I'm the speaker, right? And so it is, so for me, I kind of like this kind of interruption, but I understand that some speakers will prefer, they kind of doing some breathing exercise or they kind of reviewing mentally their material and they need that time of quiet. And, I think that's one, you can do that. And so just so if you are a speaker like this, it's okay, right? You can say, look, I'll be with you in a minute. Let me just finish here something I'm doing, or, just acknowledge the person, right? Say, I'll be with you in a minute. I'm going to be in the room in a minute. Let me just kind of finish this. I'm just kind of going mentally here over my what I'm going to talk about. So, can we talk in a minute? I'll be right there. So if you acknowledge the person, they're usually going to be okay to say, okay, I can wait, right? I'll be right here. And you can even acknowledge, like I did with the interruption, right? Just kind of say, just do like something like this. People understand that you need some time, right? So most times that should be more than enough. But there's one more thing from Stuart's comment that I like to address here, right? Because his particular interruption was someone asking him, "Oh, can you tell me in 10 seconds?" I talked about this yesterday, right? Can you tell me in 10 seconds about your talk so I can decide if I'm going to another talk or to your talk? And let me tell you one thing. As a speaker, I believe firmly that my message can help you. Really. That's why I'm doing this, right? That's why, I overcome my fears. That's, even my fears of talking, right? That's why I overcome my fears because I believe in my message. We're going to talk about being convincing, right? And the reason why we are convincing is because I really believe what I have to say, the conversation I'm going to have with you, my presentation, can change your life, right? So that's exactly what I would tell anyone, right? Look, don't go to the other guy. Stay here with me because I'm going to help you, right? As a speaker, I want people to come to my talk. It's not a competition, right? I know the other guy's going to be a great speaker too, right? But if someone asks me, I'm totally biased. I want you to come to my talk. Yes, right? So that would be an easy answer for me. Should I come to your talk or to someone else? I don't know what the other guy's going to talk about, but my talk will change your life. That's what I would say. And I do this a lot, right? A lot of times I say this. Sometimes I walk in a room, for example, and there's some people leaving to go to another talk. And I would say, why are you leaving? Oh, no, we just finished watching this past talk, and we're going to go to another one. And I say, okay, you can go. I'm sure the other talk's going to be great. The other guy's going to be a great speaker. But I know that my talk can change your life. So if I were you, I would stay. And, why would I say that? Because I believe in it. That's the reason I speak. That's the reason I overcome my fears. That's the reason why I prepare. That's the reason why, I travel around the world. That's the reason why, I open up, I don't give attention to my family a lot of times because I'm traveling to speak. That's the reason why, I have to work on my job at night sometimes, so I can be in an event during the day. That's the reason why we do this. That's the reason why, besides everything else that we do, we also speak, because we believe that our message can change lives. And I'll tell this to anyone. I'll say, I believe that my message can change your life. So if you stay to my talk, I'm going to do my best to help you. That's and go to the other guy if you prefer. That's okay. I'm sure he's going to do the same. But I want you to stay. I always want people to stay, right? So that's another tip, for you guys, because it has to do with being convincing, right? You don't. The question was more like, I'm worried that I need to prepare. I need to know everything so I can be convincing. And the whole point of speaking is not for you to be convincing, right? You don't need to convince anyone of anything. If you're making an effort to convince people, right? Everyone knows that. People are like, oh, this guy's trying to convince me. This guy's trying to change my opinion. And immediately they block it. Seriously, if you're trying to convince someone, you're forcing, right? You're forcing your ideas. And so it immediately creates a block from the audience, from whoever's watching you. So instead of trying to convince people, help them think, right? And you don't need to know everything to help people think. You can even say, I have no idea how to do this, but this problem you're having is an important problem. I think, don't you agree that if your problem that you're having is so big that this should be something that you should look at? This should be something you should research, right? Because you probably have a big problem. I don't know how to solve that, but I think you should research it. You don't need to know everything to help people think. And a lot of times, that's even more important. A lot of times, what they know, their projects, their knowledge of what they're doing, it's more important than what you know. Seriously, think about this. Just think about this for a second. I'm sure you've watched movies and you've read books about the movie, or vice versa. You read the book first and then you watch a movie. What happens when you read the book and then you watch a movie? You always think, oh man, the book was better. Well, I know there's some movies that are better than books, but usually you think that the book was better. And why the book was better? Because the book, you created the whole story of the book in your imagination. So the book talks more to you than the movie. And the reason why the book talks more to you than the movie is because everything you read in the book, you create in your mind. So it's not what was written in the pages that made the book better. It was what was created in your head from your life, from what you know, from your experience, from your imagination. The things that you created in your mind made the book make more sense to you than the movie. Because the movie, the images are ready, are done for you. And the book, it makes you think. So, as a speaker, a lot of times, it's not what you're teaching them that's important. It's the project that they have, the problem they're dealing with. And when you help them think how what you're teaching can help them on their project, when they make that connection, when they understand that their projects can be solved, their problem can be resolved, their situation can be better, whatever, that's when they say, yes, that's what I want. I'm going to go back. I'm going to implement this. I'm going to do this. Not because I'm convinced, but because they understood enough to connect back to what they're doing. So when you make someone think, that's when you change their lives. That's when they can improve. That's when they can overcome whatever problem they have. So when you're speaking, you should be, instead of you saying, oh, how convincing should I be? I need to know everything to be convincing. I need to know everything to be credible or something like this. Help them think, right? Help the audience think, and that's going to make a big difference for them. And last but not least, the comment about talking, right? CJ said, talking is my biggest challenge. And there's two ways of doing this. So think about this. One is what I already said. Your message, CJ, is important. You solved the problem. You had a big difficulty in your life that you had to overcome. You have a solution for a problem that I have. Whatever you're teaching me could change my project, could change my life, could make me get more money, right? For example, if it helps me make more money, or if it helps me improve my career, that's going to help my family. Maybe I can get a better salary, or I can work on a more interesting project because of what you're teaching me. And then, so your message is important. And if your message is important, if your message can save lives, you should face the fear of talking. You should experiment. Go talk with a few people. Go talk with your friends. Go have a conversation. A talk is not a monologue where you come and you distill your wisdom to the world. A talk is a conversation. So if you go to the bar and you have a conversation with your friends, you're already preparing for a talk. But CJ said talking is a problem. So maybe talking is the problem, right? Maybe CJ could be sharing different ways. Because you don't need to be a speaker to share and change people's lives. You can write a blog post. You can create a form that helps people think. You can, create a graphics. You can create some codes, right? There's lots of different ways for you to help people think and help them change their lives. So think about all these possibilities, right? You can write a book. You could do slides, right? You could do an animation. There's so many tools today that you can do so many different things to help people. Yet a few days ago, I spent it was about an hour. I experimented a new tool. It's called InVideo. I experiment with that. And I had never used it before, so I spent about an hour learning the tool and doing something. And I created a little video, about a 1 minute long video, where it was a video with text. And there were so many people watching this video. I've had thousands of views on that video on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and a lot of different places. So and I didn't say anything, right? It was just pictures and text, right? So, you don't need to speak to change people's lives. You don't need to speak to pass a message. You don't need to speak. You can use, there's so many different tools today that you can do this, right? So, think about this. Your message is important. That's why a lot of times we have to accept interruptions, right? Because it's important for the person. The person that's walking to us, he's like, look, think about it. He's in a conference. There is a speaker. Most people don't want to talk to the speaker. This guy overcome his fears to come talk to the speaker. And, if you can help this guy stay in your talk, that's great, right? Because you can help him change his life. That's your message that's important. Your message can change his life. If you overcome your fear of talking, your message can help this person, right? If instead of being convincing, you help people think, you can change their minds. You can help them understand. You can help them really apply whatever that you're teaching. Your message is important. So let's together go and work with our message so we can help even more people to have a better life, to improve their projects, to have an easier situation in their company, to apply new technologies that can save time or can give them a good night of sleep. our technical message is important. And not only the technical message, the whole message of the things that you've done in our lives is important. So the more we're able to do this, the more we're able to do a conversation, the better for everyone. And speaking is a great way to improve your career. So I think that's also another reason why you should be doing this. Okay, so this is Bruno Souza, directly from the Developers Conference in São Paulo, Brazil. We are here at the Career and Speaking Mentorship Room, and I'm here to help you improve your career. Thanks very much.